Welcome to the lecture 2.6 of the course Metrology and Mission Tools. In this lecture, I will explain the shaper, working principle of shaper mission, and the driving mechanism in the shaper and the different work holding devices used in the shaper mission. Shaper. A shaper is a type of machine tool that uses linear relative motion between the workpiece and a single point cutting tool to machine a linear tool path. Here, the primary intention of the shaper is which is used to produce the flat surfaces by maintaining a linear relative motion between the workpiece and a single point cutting tool. So, by maintaining the linear relative motion between the workpiece and cutting tool, is going to be produce the flat surfaces. So, if you observe here, so just observe this animation. This is the cutting tool and this is the ram and this is the workpiece. The workpiece is fixed and the cutting tool is going to be moving in a linear direction to remove the workpiece. And other operations can perform is making slots, grooves and keyways. Now if you observe, the ram is moving. This is the forward stroke and this one is the, if the ram moves, so this is the forward stroke, we can call it as a forward stroke, and sorry, this is the forward stroke, and this is called as a, it is a return stroke, is a return stroke. Here, when the ram is moving in the forward stroke, the cutting action is going to be takes place. If the ram is moving the return stroke, there is no cutting action will take place. So it means the material is going to remove only during the forward stroke only. So that's why the forward stroke is called as a cutting stroke and return stroke is called as a ideal stroke. There is no metal removal takes place in the return stroke. These are the parts of the shaper. So from this, it is a, this is a elevating screw. This is the table. We can adjust the table height of the table by using the elevated screw. And this is a driving pulley. The complete driving mechanism is going to be operated from this point. And this is the entire column. And this is the ram and the ram locking handle. So the purpose of this ram locking handle is which is used to fix the stroke length. First you have to adjust the stroke length and you have to fix the ram to that particular stroke length. And stroke position adjustment hand wheel. And here, now if you observe here, this is the clamp box. Here we are going to place the cutting tool, and this is the down feed hand wheel. So this one is the down feed hand wheel. So we can move the cutting tool in a downward direction or upward direction. Now you can observe this video. It will give the complete information about the parts of the shaper mission. This is the workpiece, and this is the tool head, and this is the ram. The cutting tool is going to be held in the tool head. So the shaper is a machine having reciprocating cutting tool and the fixed workpiece. So workpiece is fixed, the cutting tool is going to reciprocating on the surface of the workpiece. The primary function of the shaper is to produce the flat surfaces. We'll see how the cutting to shaper is going to be working. This is a ram. It will remove the material in the forward stroke. This is a forward stroke and this one is a return stroke. So the material is going to remove only during the forward stroke. This is the ram. So the tool head is fitted on the front end of the ram. This is the ram. This is the front end of the ram. Here we are going to fix the tool head. The tool head is fixed. This is the tool head complete. So the workpiece is rigidly held over the cutting table. This is the table and this is the vise. This is the vise which is used to hold the workpiece. So the ram reciprocates to make the cutting tool to cut the material in the forward stroke. So the ram is going to be reciprocating. This is in this direction is the forward stroke and this is the return stroke. So we know that during the return stroke there is no material removal takes place. This is the return stroke. So that's why forward stroke is called as a cutting stroke and reverse stroke is called as a ideal stroke. So a combination of one forward stroke and one return stroke is called as a cycle, one cycle of operation. We'll see the parts of the shaper. This is the base complete, and this is the column, and this is a table, and this is a vise which is used to hold the workpiece, and this is a tool head which is here we are going to use hold the cutting tool. This is a complete base. So these are the parts of the shaper machine. This one is the base. It is made of cast iron, and next one is it will support the whole of the machine and is bolted to the floor with the help of foundation bolts to avoid the vibrations. And this is a complete column. And next one is, so it is a box type structure and made up of cast iron. Is a column also made up of cast iron. It is a box slab structure. The column is mounted on the base, so it will cover the complete working mechanism. Is the ram is the main part of the shaper. So the ram is going to be reciprocating. So it is made up of cast iron with the cross ribs for rigidity, and is the ram is going to be slides over the guideways on the top of the column. Is the top of the column, and next it carries the tool head and connected with any one of the driving mechanism. And this is a work table. So we are going to use any other work holding devices to hold the workpiece. So these are the parts of the shaper. So it's a box of rectangular hollow casting is a work table, and this is the vise which is used to hold the workpiece. Now coming to the working, the job is rigidly fixed on the machine table. The single point cutting tool held properly in the tool post and is mounted on the reciprocating ram. Here the workpiece is going to be fixed on the table by using the vise, and the tool head is going to be fixed to the ram. The ram is going to be reciprocating. So the reciprocating motion of the ram is obtained by the quick return mechanism. So the reciprocating motion of this ram is going to obtained by the quick return motion mechanism. So the name here quick return. So it will return very fastly. So because in the forward stroke the cutting is going to be takes place, in the return stroke there is no cutting action is going to be takes place. So to avoid the wastage of the ideal time, so the speed of the return stroke is more than the speed of the forward stroke. As the ram reciprocates, the tool cuts the material during its forward stroke, and this stroke is called as a cutting stroke, because during the forward stroke only the cutting action is going to be takes place and the material is going to removed from the workpiece. So that's why this stroke is called as a cutting stroke. During the return, there is no cutting action takes place. That's why it is called as a ideal stroke. So this is the forward stroke here. So this is the forward stroke, and this one is the return stroke. So during the forward stroke only the cutting action is going to be takes place, and during the return stroke there is no cutting action will takes place. That's why the forward stroke is called as a cutting stroke and the return stroke is called as a ideal stroke. So the forward and return strokes continues the one operating cycle of the shaper. Together, one forward and one return stroke combined together, you can call it as a one operating cycle, or you can call it as a one cut. This is the working. Now you can observe here, this is the ram and this is the workpiece, and the workpiece is going to be reciprocating on the surface of the ram, on the surface of the workpiece. So here the cutting action is going to take place only during the forward stroke, and return stroke is called as a ideal stroke. In the return stroke there is no cutting action will take place. If you observe, compared to the forward stroke, the return stroke will takes very less time. So the ram will move faster in the return stroke compared to the forward stroke. So it will return fastly. So this is about the working of the shaper. Now we'll see what are the mechanism we are using for the shaper, because you have to reciprocate the ram, and also here you have to maintain the return stroke time smaller than the cutting stroke time, forward stroke. That means the ram should be move very fastly during the return stroke compared to the forward stroke. So that type of motion is going to be obtained. That type of motion is called as a quick return mechanism. In the quick return mechanism, the ram will return very quickly. The ram will be returned very quickly to the initial position. So to obtain this type of mechanism, we are going to use any one of these three mechanisms. One is the crank and slaughter link mechanism, hydraulic mechanism, Whitworth mechanism. By using any one of these three, we will get the quick return mechanism. First, we will see the crank and slaughter link mechanism. See, this is the crank and slaughter. So this is the crank and this is a slotted link mechanism. Here the crank is fixed and the slot is going to be rotating here. So the rotary motion of this one is going to be converted into reciprocating motion. So here this is the diagram of this crank and slaughter link mechanism. Here an electric motor runs the driving pinion. So yes, let's see here. This is the driving pinion. Now here, if you observe at a uniform speed, this pinion makes the bull gear to rotate at a uniform speed. So this is the driving pinion. First of all, this is the driving pinion. We are going to connect this driving pinion to the electric motor. So the electric motor will rotate this driving pinion. If this driving pinion rotates, this will going to be connected to the bull gear. This is the larger one is called as a bull gear. So if the driving pinion, if the motor rotates, if you switch on the motor, the driving pin will rotate. If the driving pinion will rotate, the bull gear is going to be rotating at a uniform speed. So the bull gear is a large gear fitted inside the column. The point O is the center of the bull gear. This is the center. This is the point O. This is the center of the bull gear. A slotted link. Here, this is the slotted link. This is the slotted link. So this one is the slotted link. A slotted link having a long slot along its length. This is the complete long slot. One slot is there completely, which is pivoted at this point O. At this particular point, it is going to the complete length. The long length slotted link is going to be pivoted at a point K. So it is going to be moving like this. It will move like this. A sliding block N. So this is called as a sliding block. This is called as a sliding block. This is the sliding block. This is the sliding block. A sliding block N fitted inside the slot. So this small block is going to be fitted inside this slot and slides along the length of the slotted link. It is going to be slides along the length of the slotted block. P is the crank pin. This is the crank pin P. And the next one, this is the crank pin, the smaller one. This is a crank pin. And OP can be considered as a crank. So this is the crank. This one is the crank. So this center O, if you join OP, so OP is the crank. So this is about the parts of this mechanism. Now we will see how it is operate. So 1 second. When the bull gear rotates, if the driving pin rotates, automatically bull gear is going to rotate. When the bull gear rotates, the sliding block also rotates in the crank pin circle. So this sliding block, this is called as a sliding block. So when the bull gear rotates, automatically sliding block is also rotates. If the sliding block is going to rotate in the crank pin circle. Here, for example, here, if this is the center, this is the O, and this is the P. Here, if the bull gear rotates, automatically this sliding block will rotate like this in this circle. This is the crank pin circle. If it rotates like this, if this sliding block will rotates like this, automatically this slotted link is also rotates. So this arrangement provides the rocking movement of the rocker arm. So if the sliding block rotates, this slotted link will oscillate like this. If this if this slotted link will oscillate, automatically will be oscillate like this. So this will provides the rocking motion of the ram. A top of the ram, as the top of the slaughter link is connected to the ram. This slaughter link is connected to the ram reciprocates horizontally. So if this slaughter link oscillates like this, automatically because the link is going to be connected to the ram. Ram will reciprocate either forward direction or reverse direction. So that's why by using this mechanism, the rotary motion of this crank slotted block is going to be converted into reciprocating motion of the ram. So now we'll see. As shown in the diagram, Ka, see this one, Ka. Ka indicates the starting point of the forward stroke. So if this ram is here, let's see, if this ram here, if this is one, if this ram is here, if this ram is, sorry, if this slaughter link is here, so the ram position will be here. So that means it is the starting at the starting point of the forward stroke. Now, and KB at the end of the cutting stroke. This is the KB, KB at the end of the cutting stroke. So that means if the ram will move from point B to, sorry, point A to point B, the cutting stroke will be finished. So initially, if the slaughter link is here, sorry, if the initially the slaughter link is here, this is a slaughter link. Initially, if the slaughter link is here, when the ram is moved from this point A to B, the cutting stroke is going to be fixed, sorry, completed. That means when this slaughter link will oscillate like this, like this, like this, like this. So if the slaughter link will move from point A to point B, so the cutting, the ram will finish its cutting stroke. So it will cover this distance, complete P, this complete distance. It will cover this complete distance. The rotation of the crank OP, this is the crank OP, this is the OP, in the clockwise direction through an angle P1 or P2. So if the ram, if this slotted link will move, if the slotted link will move from point A to B, automatically the crank will cover at an angle, this angle, the crank will cover at this angle. This angle is called as P1 or P2, which refers to the forward stroke cutting angle. And the rotation of the crank in the same direction through the angle P2L P1 refers to the return stroke. So immediately after completion of the forward stroke, again, let's see here, after completion of the forward stroke, again it will move like this. The crank will rotate like this. The sliding block will rotate like this. This crank pin, this sliding block will initially, this, let's see, 1 second. Initially, this sliding block will rotate from this point to this one. If it is rotates like this, sorry, if it is, if it rotates like this, so the crank, the slotted link will move from point A to point B. Again, after completion of the forward stroke, if the sliding block will complete the remaining rotation, if the sliding block will rotate like this, automatically the slotted link will move from B to A. That is called as a return stroke. So this angle P2L P1 is called as a return stroke angle, and P1 or P2 is called as a forward stroke angle. So if you observe these angles, so P1 or P2 angle is more than the P2L P1 angle. So that means the forward stroke, during the forward stroke, the forward stroke time is more than the return stroke time. So that's why. So it is fulfill our requirement. What is our requirement? So our intention is you have to maintain the forward stroke time lesser than the return stroke time. The ram will cover within a short time, the ram will be cover the return stroke. So the stroke length, see here, as the angle P2L P1. So P2L P1 is smaller than the angle P1 or P2. The time taken for the return stroke is less than that of the forward stroke. So that is our intention. Our intention is you have to maintain the forward stroke time is always less than the return stroke time. Because which type of motion we required for this shaper? The quick return motion mechanism is required for the shaper. So by using this links, by using this mechanism, we are going to get the quick return motion. So this is about the. So next we will see the, 1 second. So this is about the crank and slaughter link mechanism. Next we will see the Whitworth quick return mechanism. So the purpose of the Whitworth quick return mechanism is also same, to maintain, to obtain the quick return motion. So this mechanism changes the rotary motion to the oscillatory motion like the crank and lever mechanism. What are the parts we are using? Slotted bar, slider and crank. So here the crank wheel is going to be rotates. See, Whitworth quick return mechanism is the second invention of the slider crank mechanism, in which the crank is fixed. In the slider crank mechanism, crank is fixed, only the sliding block will be rotated. But here, in this mechanism, the slider in the slotted bar is connected to the crank. When the crank rotates, this is the crank. See, this is the crank. When the crank rotates, automatically slider will slide inside the slaughter bar and the slaughter bar will be oscillate. See, if the slaughter bar will oscillate, automatically ram will move. Yes, this is the slaughter bar. If the slaughter bar oscillate, automatically ram will be reciprocate. So this is about the Whitworth quick return mechanism. Let's see how we are going to obtain the forward and return stroke in the Whitworth quick return mechanism. Let's see, this is the completed driving crank. Let's see, there are 3 links. So link 4 links. Link 1, this is the slotted bar, and link 4, link 2. So this link, this is the link 2. This link 2 is the fixed one, and link 3, this is the driving link, the point which connected C to A. This is the link 3, which is the driving link, and slider. This is the slider, which is the link 4, and this is the cutting tool, and this is the ram. Our intention is to get the reciprocating motion of this ram. Now we'll see how we are going to obtain the forward stroke. When the driving crank CA, this is the C and this one is A. This CA, this is the driving crank. When the driving crank CA is moves from point CA1 to CA2, that means, so this CA, this is the CA. When this CA will move from CA1, A1 to CA2, this position, if it covers this angle, then we will get the forward stroke. So this will cover angle alpha. So through an angle alpha in the clockwise direction, the tool moves from the left hand end of the strokes to the right hand to a distance dp. So we will get the cutting stroke, forward stroke. And because it is a continuous, it will cover complete 360 degrees. After that, when it covers, let's see here, this is the point C, and now CA will be here. Now if it is CA will move, if the CA will move in this direction like this, it will cover, if it will move from CA2 to CA1, CA2 to CA1, then the ram will move in a reverse direction. So it will cover the return stroke. So like this, we can perform the operations. So this is about the Whitworth quick return mechanism. Next, hydraulic shaper mechanism. The name itself indicates that hydraulic shaper mechanism. In that, we are going to use the hydraulic fluids to operate the piston and cylinder, ram. Here, if you observe, in this shaper mechanism, the ram is moved forward and backward by a piston moving in a cylindrical placed under the ram. Under the ram, one cylinder is fixed. This is the cylinder, and here this is the piston. So by rotating, because how the ram is moving, by the reciprocating action of the piston inside the cylinder, we are going to get the reciprocating motion of the ram. So here, if you want to get the reciprocating motion of the ram, initially we have to give the reciprocating motion to the piston inside the cylinder. Now this reciprocating motion is going to be obtained by using the hydraulic fluid. Let's see here, if you observe. Now initially this is the oil reservoir, and this is the relief valve, and this is the throttle valve, and this is a valve chamber, and these are the shaper dogs, and this is the reversing levers. Now initially, first you will see, if you need the forward stroke, initially if you switch on the pump, automatically the oil will pump throughout this one, and here from this point, so the oil will move like this, and 1 second, so the oil will move from like this, the oil will move I will change, 1 second, I will change the color. Yes. From this oil will move like this, and here it will place here, because we are pumping the high pressure oil. This oil will pump this, move this piston in this direction. When the piston is moving in this direction, automatically whatever the oil is in front of the piston here, that oil will be sent to the oil reservoir through the throttle valve. Now, okay, after completion of this forward stroke, immediately if the ram is moving like this, this shaper dog will hit the reversing lever. So this shaper dog will hit the reverse. Let's say, for example, if you observe, this is the reversing lever, this is the shaper dog. When the ram will move in this direction, after completion of some distance, this valve, this shaper dog will hit this valve, hit this reversing lever. Immediately when the shaper dog hits the reversing lever, automatically the entire valve will be changes, will get the complete reverse operation. That means it will give the information that once if the shaper dog hits the reversing lever, means the forward stroke is going to completed. You have to go for the return stroke. Automatically the piston will move in the reverse direction. That means the valves, automatically the valves change their operation. Here the oil under high pressure is drawn from the reservoir. The oil is passed through the valve chamber to the right side of the oil cylinder, exerting the pressure on the piston. Here the pressure is exerting by the oil. Because of this pressure, the piston will move in this direction. This is the forward stroke. Next we will see the operation. Any oil on the left side of the cylinder is discharged through the reservoir through the throttle. Already I told you, when the piston is moving in this direction, automatically the oil present in front of this piston is going to be sent to the oil reservoir through the throttle valve. At the end of the forward stroke, okay, after completion of this one, at the end of the forward stroke, the shaper dog hit against the reversing lever. So the shaper dog, if the ram will move, if the ram moves like this, automatically the shaper dog will cover this distance and it will hit this reversing lever. Once after hitting the reversing lever, all the valves change their positions, alter their positions. So the lever causing the valves to alter their position within the valve chamber. In this valve chamber, immediately if the shaper dog hits the reversing lever, automatically these valves will change their position. Immediately when this reversing lever touches, hits the shaper dog, this valve will come to this position, it will close, this valve will be closed, and this valve will be open. Automatically the oil will be move in this direction and it will hit the piston in the reverse direction. It will push the piston. So like this, we can operate the piston inside the cylinder in forward direction and reverse direction. So this is the hydraulic shaper mechanism. So those are the mechanisms we are using to get the quick return motions. Now we'll see what are the work holding devices we are using in the shaping mission. So these are some of the work holding devices: shaper wise, clamps and slot stop pins, T-bolts and step blocks, angle plate, V-block, special fixtures. So these are some examples of the work holding devices. So the same work holding devices we are used in case of the drilling. So that's why I'm not explaining once again, because already we discussed about these work holding devices in case of the drilling. Now if you observe here, this is the vise. So by using this vise, so this is the workpiece, this one is the workpiece. So we are going to hold this workpiece by using the vise. Vise has the two jaws, one is a fixed jaw and this one is a moving jaw. So this vise is initially fixed to the table by using the any bolts, and the workpiece is going to be held stationary in between the two jaws. And here T-bolt, clamp and step blocks. So this is the T-bolt. The bolt is going to be inserted into the slots of the table, and this is the clamps, and you can go for the closed tamp or U clamps, and these are the stepped blocks. These are the stepped blocks are used for the supporting purpose, to support the clamp at one side, because the clamp one side of the clamp is fixed to the placed on the work surface, the other side of the clamp is going to be balanced by the stepped blocks. And this is the angle plate. So this angle plate is used to hold the workpiece. We are going to use this angle plate along with the T blocks and stepped blocks, and also clamps. And this is the V block, which is used to hold the cylindrical rods. So like this, you can hold the cylindrical rocks by using the V block and a clamp. So these are the clamps and stop pins. So like this, by using any one of the work holding devices, we are going to hold the workpiece on the table. So this is about the shaper.